Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. And as you can see by the thumbnail and the title, it's a crossover. It's our first crossover between another YouTube channel in racing. It's going to be Only Fools Love Horses and Next Gen. I've got the boxing gloves in my bag for Harry and Sam. I cannot wait. We've had a good weekend. We had a nice shake-up around the Cheltenham Festival markets. I'm sure we'll delve into that in our introduction. And we're going to be covering our first handicaps of the festival. Now, I'll get the caveat in now. There's no handicap marks officially from the handicapper. Irish horses could go up or down, but these are just pointers into what we think could go well at the festival and the three handicaps we're going to talk about. But it's ding ding, round one between Sam and Harry. Sam, thank you very much. And Jack, thank you very much for coming on the show. I'll go to Sam first. Gavega won on the weekend. I'm sure you're absolutely buzzing for this.
Oh, aren't I just? I'll tell you what, thanks for having us, lads. Honestly, yeah, I didn't actually know this was going to be your first crossover, another YouTube channel, which is interesting. But let's talk about Gavega, shall we, Harry? How good was he? The 335 on Thursday. He was something special, wasn't he? Absolutely thumped them into the ground. Noel Houlihan showing why he's a monster. How's Snake Roll? How you can think Snake Roll is a better horse than Gavega? I don't know. Something was definitely amiss that day where you've somehow won that match bet, but Gavega is honestly a weapon.
The worst match bet in the world. Can we clarify that? The worst match bet. Jack, and we'll let these boys spar it out in a second. It's great to have you on, and I'm sure it's going to be a great spectacle watching these two go at it.
Yeah, exactly. I think we can just kind of sit back and pick the winners and let them two just fight it out. I mean, they can have the handbags and we can try and pick the winners. So yeah, thanks very much for having me on, guys.
I'm sure there's a Gary Moore thing somewhere that Sam's going to lose money on, as I do with the Tony Carroll horses. Harry, of course, we got Next Gen on. It's going to be a good look towards the handicaps of the festival, and we've had a good weekend to reflect on.
Oh, we have. I mean, you couldn't have more of a shake-up this weekend than probably I could think of. I think this is probably the only weekend for a long, long time where we thought we're going into the weekend, we're thinking, bro, well, for me personally, Shishkin's not going to win. He's not going to win the Ryanair. But now you come out of it Monday evening or Sunday evening that we're filming, and you're thinking Ryanair, he's even money for the Ryanair. You're thinking he's the biggest certainty going into the festival. So, listen, it is going to be a shake-up. This week, I mean, it's every week now. I find myself in controversy with every guest we have on. And now it's me and Sam. It's every week at this rate. But no, it should be an absolute cracker. I'm absolutely buzzing for it.
And Harry, you've got your apologies in after Shishkin. How do you feel after the race?
Financial thoughts aside, I am really glad he's back, because for everyone that loves the sport as much as we do, lads, it's such a good story to see him back to what we know he can perform as. Now, I made some stupid comments in hindsight now, but that's how
he's a 150 horse. He's a 150 horse.
Yes, but on recent form and recent showings, he wasn't anything like he was. But then that performance of the weekend against Pic D'Orhy, who came into the race he was on such good form, to smash him the way he did was seriously impressive, and he jumped like a buck throughout. And Nico de Boinville said it was quite interesting that after two fences that they'd know their fate, and the fact that he just powered away, it must have gave some feeling. So I'm so glad he's back. It's good for the sport, and it's definitely good for us to talk absolute waffle about, isn't it?
Absolute waffle indeed, Lee. We've had a good weekend, and we're going to get stuck in some handicaps. I personally cannot wait.
Look, the handicaps are a tricky one to solve even on the day, so we're going for it a bit early for me, but I've got a couple I like, so yeah, happy to get stuck into these ones.
Before we go to them, I'll go to our guests for today. I'll go to Sam first. Your favourite performance of the weekend, off the top of your head? I'm putting you a little bit on the spot here, but what would you say is your favourite performance?
Well, I mean, it's obviously got to be Shishkin. I mean, I put out a tweet saying that you couldn't back this horse at the weekend, and a lot of people said, look, I'm going to be backing him. It's fair enough, people can. You've got to have opinions in this game, but it was one of those where I wanted to see what kind of Shishkin showed up, and we ended up seeing an absolute star. I thought Pic D'Orhy actually ran a good race, in all fairness. I think that when I was speaking to Nichols, we managed to go down there with the Johnny Deneen and DJ team up. That's now out on YouTube and get that.
Which is superb, by the way. Which is superb.
Have you seen some of it, Harry? Yeah, it's a good video.
Yeah, it's super.
Yeah, no, it's a cracking video. But speaking to Nichols, I just spoke to him about Ryanair contenders and Hitman and Pic D'Orhy, and he was at that stage, he was kind of like, I could send both there, but I'd imagine now he'd think about sending Hitman to the Ryanair, and Pick Dorhey could now go to Aintree for probably the Melling Chase. You'd probably say that race is actually made for Pick Dorhey, and I'd give him a mega chance in that, especially if Shishkin does step up and go for the bowl come April. So yeah, look, Shishkin was the standout. I mean, if you wanted a performance elsewhere, it was I Like to Move It, wasn't it? I mean, he absolutely hacked up. I mean, he's got to go for the champion hurdle. He's going to have no chance getting Constitution Hill, but it was a proper spellbinding performance, wasn't it?
I thought I'd Like to Move It was really, really good, and I was really annoying myself. Like up to Friday, I was with him, and I ditched him on Saturday. I went for the favourite. For Nicky Henson spoke about this horse for the champion hurdle. He thinks he's that level to try and place in that race, and I thought that First Street was going to win, and then I Like to Move It absolutely sluices up, and yeah, he has to go to the champion now. He could run on into a place, you never know. Jack, we've had some brilliant performance on the weekend. Yourself, is it Shishkin as your favourite performance of the weekend?
Again, I think, yeah, it has to be Shishkin, doesn't it? But also a special mention to Oscar Elite as well, winning the Reynoldstown. He's always kind of hinted that he could be able to do that. I mean, look at how he travelled in the Ultima last year. So I thought it was a nice touch seeing him get his graded win.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't. Brilliant placing by Joe Tizard and everyone around, and to find the grade 2 race, free runners, pick up some nice prize money. He'll go on to the Ultimate. It's fantastic planning when horse racing can't get any runners in their races. A couple of 2-runner races on Sunday as we record. All is well though. We'll move on to the first race we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about three, and we're going to try and pick the races that we sort of know the most about at this early stage. And the three you've chosen are the Boodles, the Pertemps, and the Martin Pipe. Martin Pipe's a bit of a questionable one at the end there to see what we can find, but I'm sure people have some fancies. But we're starting with the Boodles. I'll go through the betting for this one. A horse that Lee likes, Tekal, topping the market 6-1. Biker in there at 10s. Then we've got Comfort Zone in there at 10s as well. Cheltenham winner. Nusret, Postmark as well at the same price. Got Sir Alan, Gala Masso, beat Lossiemouth the other day in there at 12. So it's quite an interesting market. I've got some stats on the race that I'll bring up after, but I'll go to Sam.
Have you got any stats
first.
on the Juvenile Handicap Chase?
Juvenile Handicap Chase?
Yeah, it says Boodles Juvenile Handicap Chase.
Oh, yeah, it does. Moron. I'll change that in a second. Thank you, Harry. Error on the admin side.
Tell you what, these stats and trends for the last 5 years for the Boodles Handicap Chase are going to be unbelievable.
They're must be there somewhere. I think didn't Denman win it one year? Admin error as I get it back up on the screen. But Sam, the Boodles Handicap Hurdle, as it's now on your screen there. What have you assessed from it at this early stage?
Yeah, I'll tell you about. Can we just talk about last year's race for a second? Because Jack and I are always very supportive on our channel of each other's selections. We're always congratulating each other if we land a winner. However, last year, one of my top 5 bets, I had to put it up and said it was almost a certainty, was Gaelic Warrior to win this race, right, off 129. And Jack was giving me so much that you can't put this horse up in a handicap. You can't do that. You can't do this. I was like, I'm going to do it, and he's going to win. And then he got chinned on the line, and I've never had so much stick from someone when this horse got beat. Jack
Honestly,
was literally...
I had so much enjoyment after seeing Gaelic Warrior getting beaten. It was like having a winner myself. I mean, I didn't back the winner. I think I was on the Tide Turns who finished pulled up way back in the field. But I mean, Gaelic Warrior not winning made my day, is fair to say.
And now he's like a 155 rated horse.
Mad, isn't it? How he didn't win that off 129. How did he not win that off 129? It's a joke. Let's quickly go on to this year's renewal, though. I mean, Tekal obviously sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't he? Look, he's rated 128 over in Ireland. British handicapper, probably going to give him £4 or £5. 8 of the last 12 winners were rated between 125 and 134, so he's probably going to fit into that bracket, you'd imagine. And that third behind Gala Masso and Lossiemouth finished 10 lengths behind them, just steered into the race nicely. I think that was just a perfect run, wasn't it? Showed his ability. So he's a worthy favourite in here. I think one that would be interesting, I will just mention, it's the only Gary Moore horse that I'd give a mention for on this show.
Yeah, it's 9 minutes. 9 minutes.
Bo Zenith was interesting at the weekend. He obviously flopped on debut, but looked, he got his head in front at Huntington. He was well fancied, wasn't he, on debut? Obviously beat the likes of Blood Destiny over in France. That was fascinating. But yeah, I'd say that, look, 9 of the last 12 have run in the last 30 days. So 9 of the last 12 winners ran 30 days prior to the Boodles. And I've got a feeling that this horse might have another run and get into this race and potentially run a big one. Maybe a late developer for the Moore team. But the one that I'm going to go for in a nice each way angle is a horse called Grave Owl for the Fergal O'Brien team. She was a purchase from France back in December, but has done no wrong in those 2 runs for the team so far. The horse on debut looked like a surefire winner as they travelled into the straight at Doncaster, travelled so strongly, and then just swerved into a horse called Arclight for Nicky Henderson and Nico de Boinville. I mean, Arclight's actually turned out to be a good horse. After that run, went and won by half the track at Kempton in a juvenile race there, and then they raced again at Doncaster, Greyval and Arclight, and they reversed the form. We had a completely different showing from Greyval, and this horse is now rated 117. But you'd imagine they'd get another run into this horse, and she could be very well treated, I've got a feeling. So, look, I think Takao is definitely a worthy favourite. Could be tough to beat, but I'm going to take the 16-1 about Greyval and the Boodles.
It's interesting you mentioned Arclight. We were talking to Nicky on his press day, and we are talking about what he might have for the Boodles. And we said, oh, Arclight, and he said, what's interesting is the handicapper is sort of giving a little bit of leniency to the British horses, so much so that Arclight's rated 115 and will actually get into the race unless they run him again. So it's really quite interesting this year, and I've got it on my screen here of what we could actually see from ratings. So last year, the lowest rating was 122 from Skycutter, and the top rating was the Tide Turns there of 137. Brazil won it off that mark. Gaelic Warrior was obviously 129. Looking at actually the Triumph last year, Vauban went into the race 146, Fildor and Pied Piper 142, and then Dr. Panasas is like the lowest rating in the Triumph was 131. Then if you actually look at this year for the Triumph, the top horses there aren't up to that level yet. So you got Lossy Mouth is 140, but gets the £7, so 147. Blood Destiny 143, Galamasso 134, £7 again. Comfort Zone 132, and Scriptwriter 132 as well. So it looks like this year's sort of like consistency on the amount of juveniles there at that top level might just be a step below. So you could see horses off maybe 118 or 120 getting into the Boodles this year. I wouldn't throw out the question at all, and that opens it up to a few more horses because there's plenty there that are in the betting that just aren't that rating yet, but they could just sneak in off something like 118 this year. I think that could be the case. But Jack, there's been one put up there, Greyval for Fergal O'Brien. Anything at an each way price has taken your fancy, or are you steering towards the top of the market?
Yeah, I think looking at obviously the race at Nace, 3 of the last 4 winners, you've got Brazil, of course, won it last year, Aramax in 2020, and then Band of Outlaws in 2019 as well. It's a good race. Sir Alan won it, but I think in third there was Biker, who's now rated 124, and I think he's definitely well in off 124. He's a big, imposing juvenile. I mean, he clearly wasn't giving it 100%. That day, but I mean, if you look at the roll of honor of that race, I think he'd probably be my bet at the minute. If you look at Takao at the moment, I think he's 6-1 in one place and 4s across the board. Just can't see him going off too much shorter than that on the day. There was a kind of an air of animosity around Gaelic Warrior. I don't think there's really the same with Takao, so I can't really see him going off too much shorter than 4s at the moment. And there's one that, like you say, with the handicapper being a bit lenient here, there's actually one off Gary Moore's as well, just coincidentally, more than anything.
Hey, I was the Gary Moore duo.
I know, I didn't really want to say it because I knew Sam was going to love it. Ugh.
Where's the Tony Carroll juvenile? Where is he?
Yeah, I know, it's bad, isn't it? But Spirit Danu, his name is, for the Heart of the South Racing Syndicate. He's got a rating of 115. But I think he's definitely a lot better than 115. I mean, he was impressive at Ludlow last time out. I mean, down the home straight, I thought he jumped pinpoint accurately. I mean, he was as straight as anything. He was 13 lengths quicker than Romancero Ledun on the day, who's rated 119. So I think he's definitely a lot better than 115. It would be interesting to see where they try and send him, because, of course, he'll have to get another run under his belt if they do want him to get into the Boodles. But I think Spirit Danu, if he doesn't go to the Boodles, is definitely one to watch. But Biker would be where I'll be looking at the moment.
Can I just say, you've put all of my pronunciations to shame.
I know, I was thinking that.
Throughout the whole year, my French has been off. Sam's offered to buy me a French translation book, and you've absolutely put me in a grave.
I do apologise. So... I do apologise.
No, fair play to you. I like it a lot. We're bringing some professionalism to this. I love it. Harry, the Boodles, is there anything that's catching your eye currently?
I wouldn't go diving into anything right now at the prices, if I'm being totally honest. From a punting side of view, listen to Cow, 4-1 is skinny, but at this current stage, I just think you look at the run last time, it was tailor-made for a handicap mark, wasn't it? I mean, was it mid-division and then just went about 15 wide and then just kept going. One I did like, Ash, was the Nusray for the Joseph team. Now, I think at 8-1, you'd probably be able to get bigger elsewhere. I think this horse is a little bit well treated. I think if 129 or 128, one of the two now. I think, listen, behind Blood Destiny, who looks a proper live wire in the Triumph this year, especially after Lossiemouth getting beat. I just think off 128, he could really be well treated off that. Lossiemouth beating 16 lengths, but absolutely bolted in his first start over hurdles, beating Morning Soldier for Thomas Mullins. There's probably some decent horses, probably not the best level of form, but I think at this current stage, I think Nusray has a lot more potential than a current mark of 128. Obviously, we know the Irish tax, we're going to get a little bit more than that. But I think if you look at the race last year, Irish horses pretty much dominated, didn't they? I think Paul Nicholls had the third that day. Was it that I want to say Bell X1?
I think it might.
I think it was Bell X1 that was third. So listen, for me, the most likely winner at this current stage, from what we've seen, I probably do think Takao might take a lot of beating. I do think he might be shorter. If JP puts his money down, he won't be 4-1 on the day. You can pretty much guarantee that. So for me, if I'm looking at the price, Nusray looks a decent each way price.
I know someone who has put their money down on this horse already. Is Lee? You put him in our table the other week. You must be quite happy with how he is.
Yeah, I think it was about 9s or so, Ash. So it's not too bad. I actually backed Brazil last season, and I took 6-1, and it ended up going off 10-1. So I was quite disappointed for the price wise. JP didn't get stuck in like I thought he might, but look, a win's a win, and I do like Takao. I think just remember, you only have to get 3 runs in for the Boodles, 4 for the other handicaps there. So had 3 solid runs behind Comfort Zone first time out. He's done the form a cracking job. Obviously won the Triumph Trail, beating Scriptwriter. Won that the Summit one at Chepstow as well. So 2 grade 2s there. And then obviously I had beat Ascending as well. That one was 4th again the last day, behind Galamaso. I'm butchering these already. Galamaso, Lossiemouth, and obviously Takeo was 3rd there. So the form still held up with Ascending. And look, I just think he's a solid one. I don't know if he'll go off any bigger than 4s. I can't see him getting any shorter though. I'm happy with 9s. I do like Nusray. Them are the 2 that I've put down. The problem is Daryl Jacob was on Road to Cheltenham, and he says the horse might not go, and he might go right-handed. I didn't quite see him jumping so markedly out, to be honest. I thought he'd take his chance. He's got the 3 runs in, and behind Blood Destiny, he was handled tenderly, let's say. Come home a long way behind, but look, the 3 runs are in there, and the 2 are like Nusray, but the favourite looks solid, to be fair.
Now you remind me that I remember someone told me about Nusray potentially not going to Cheltenham because of the.
I think he'll take his chance. I do think he will take his chance, because them double green, Simon Mania, Isaac Swade, they've got some cracking chances during the week, and they want the best team going there, and I think they'll take the chance.
And they're absolutely flying as well this year, aren't they? They're absolutely flying. I think 20. Let's just having a look now. 22% winning strike rate. So from 92 runners this year, they've had 20 winners, 21 placed. Like from 44 horses, they've actually sent over or had in England. 16 of them have won. So that's a pretty impressive strike rate.
Maybe he's taking non-run and no bet on that Nusray just in case. I think it's around 8 non-run and no bet. You can get higher on the markets that are still not non-run and no bet, but I'd probably take that one as non-run and no bet just in case it doesn't go.
No, it's interesting, that horse. We thought he could be like a Triumph Hurdle horse a couple of months ago, and obviously he went and bombed out a little bit. I think he finished 3rd behind Lossiemouth before another run, and then obviously he got a nicer mark for potentially the Boodles if they go there. I think there's a couple of interesting ones here, and I think one of them, and I did a piece with Ben Pauling ahead of Trials Day at Cheltenham when he ran Active Duty, a horse rated 118, ran a really, really nice race in the Comfort Zone race. I think finished, just getting up on my screen now, finished 4th, 12 lengths back, and ran a really, really smart race. I spoke to jockey that day. Was it was it Bo Morgan, was it? Oh no, Luca Morgan, sorry. Luca Morgan was on, spoke to him afterwards. They said they're really happy with him, but it was dependent on what mark he gets. He's been given 118, and he's actually entered for a race on Tuesday as well, declared for a race on Tuesday. That will give him the free runs to be able to get into a Boodles, and hopefully he runs a nice enough race to secure his place. So, potentially there he could be doing the double, or at least winning on Tuesday and then going into something like a Boodles. I think he's really interesting at 20-1. And then one that's sort of quite bigger price, and I'm sort of taking a punt here, is Allaho Boy for Willie Mullins. Won 2 races over hurdles as a 3-year-old, unseated back over in France, and then ran in the 2 races that Lossiemouth have won this season. And that was basically Willie Mullins saying, look, we've got this horse here, and he's not this rating. Like, he's not this level. He's not grade 3. He's not grade 2 level. We've got him here. They went from the front of him. So they did try and get him in this good enough place, but he just went backwards through the field. He may get a lower mark than the horse that I've actually put up for the race in Common Practice. I still think he's got a very nice chance. He was 4th in Lossiemouth's debut over in the UK in the JP colours, but he actually beat Common Practice in a 3-year-old hurdle, and then was smashed by Common Practice the next day. I think one of Blood Destiny's races actually, but I think he's quite smart. He actually beat the Insider as a 3-year-old. The Insider for Gordon Elliott then went on to Far Hills on American Grand National weekend and won a race over there, absolutely bolted up by 16 lengths. So I think if Allaho Boy gets a nice mark, and he should be getting into the race at least, I think he could be quite interesting at something like 33-1. So siding with Willie Mullins for these handicaps, what more can go wrong? We'll move on to the next race, the Pertemps Handicap Hurdle, and I've actually got all the horses that are qualified for the race. I did a little bit of work earlier. We've got one more qualifier at Chepstow next weekend, so they'll be on your screen right now as I try to go find the latest betting for the Martin Pipe. We've got all the horses there on your screen, not for the Martin Pipe, sorry, the Pertemps, and the current market for the Pertemps is Shoot First, topping the market at 9-2. Percival Legals, I'm going to say 6-1.
Legal, but it's all right. I honestly, I can't wait for Arc Weekend to come join you again this year. That was one of my favourite things.
Oh, that was awful. Absolutely awful. I want to forget that as quickly as possible. 6-1 for that horse, Maxim 7s. Salvador Ziggy at 10s, the Boss's Oscar at 10s as well. Very open, but you know what horses are qualified, and it's usually about 1-3-2 or above, or 1-3-4 and above to get into the race. I'll go first over to Sam again. Anything for the Pertemps that you think are quite interesting this year?
I mean, Shoot First is fascinating for Charles Burns. It's just such a Charles Burns thing. He runs it right at the start of the season and puts the horse away ready for the Pertemps. We know this horse is definitely going to run here. That's a certainty. This has been the plan all year. I mean, Botox gave this horse £17 that day. And I know that Botox went and won that long distance stayers handicap at Haydock after, but I'd say the form has been a bit disappointing since. Like, looking at some of the horses in behind, On Tire, Panic Attack, Silver Sheen, like, I don't think it's the best race in the world. So I wouldn't be rushing to take the 9-2 or whatever is 6-1 about that horse. Maxim was obviously a big gamble in this race prior to the Dublin Racing Festival. At Christmas, this horse absolutely hacked up, went about 4-1 for the Pertemps ante-post, and people got shown why you shouldn't be backing horses this short for a race like this at the Dublin Racing Festival, where the horse completely flopped. But the one that I've got an eye on, Ash, is one that I'm hoping you'll be able to tell me a little bit more on in a second, is a horse of Nicky Henderson's, who actually qualified for the race at the weekend. And it's Mill Green, who ended up finishing 3rd at the weekend at Haydock, 3rd in the race last year off 138, beaten by 3rd win and Alaphilippe. But I mean, all I know is that when Nicky Henderson was talking with the Racing Post on their stable tour, was the fact that Nicky Henderson was going for all the runners that he could potentially have in the race, and he was quite keen to get this horse qualified. No, we hadn't seen him for a long time since Aintree, but he was really keen to get him qualified once again, and they've done that. They slotted in to 3rd place at the weekend. Looked like they were going to win, but we know what you don't want to do in a Pertemps qualifying, and that's win the race. So the horse has gone straight, and I don't know what the handicap will do, but I'd imagine, look, he'd be around a similar mark, when he maybe like 141, £3 higher maybe. I just think that this is just going to freshen him up. I'm going to see a much better horse. I've always got to throw in a negative, though, to counteract my selection. It'd just be the fact his age. I mean, he's 11, isn't he? And 10 of the last 12 winners were aged between 6 and 8. So that'd be your only worry. But he's 33-1 currently. I think that's ludicrous. I genuinely think he actually might even drift on the day and be even bigger. But I think he's just a big price. And I think he's going to be really fresh from that run at Haydock. So yeah, I'd take Mill Green each way at 33.
I think the only sort of case I can make to back up that horse from the Nicky Henderson talk is that he's got a strong team this year. I think he said he's lining up something like 5 horses for the race.
Yeah.
He thinks that 5 can go into it. And he said he's got a strong team. While we're on the topic of Nicky Henderson, Pertemps horses, I will go into straight onto the shout that I'll give is Steeler March. Won over in Worcester in the summer and then qualified by winning a Pertemps race. Wincanton, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. But I liked how he won that day. He was really, really hardy, went from the front, was getting sort of like pushed along for a while back, real nice long run in, and he won by, I think, a length and a quarter there. It's interesting. Nicky Henderson says he's sort of improved this year from nowhere. Like he doesn't really show much at home, but like he's really quite improved a lot. And he was like, I asked him a question at the end. It was really interesting. Last year, he kept banging on about Marie's Rock for the Mares hurdle. He said, I'm really excited to see Marie's Rock in the Mares this year. Completely sort of like bypassed me when I won at 18-1. I asked the same question. I said, Nicky, you said this last year. What do you like this year? He said Lucia, obviously, and then he said just like, oh, and Steeler March for the Pertemps. And he was quite keen when we were talking about the Pertemps. We went sort of like chronological order talking about his festival team. He was quite keen to mention Steeler March because it's for the King, because they got it was the first winner the King had over jumps after the Queen. And I think it's really quite interesting that he keeps mentioning this horse. He'll get in. I think he's off. I'll check his mark now, but he'll get into the race. I think Steeler March is interesting for Henderson as well. Jack, we've got 2 Henderson horses there. Are you looking elsewhere potentially for the Pertemps?
Yeah, I will be looking elsewhere. One thing I find fascinating is out of the last 21 winners of this, only 2 have actually won a qualifier. Yet you have Shoot First and Maxim, who are both a single figure price. Shoot First is just a massive bombshell there. He's just a huge enigma, isn't he? I think, Sam, you're a little bit harsh there, crabbing the form, because Ontario and Salvador Ziggy, we haven't seen either of those since. Botox has gone on to win a grade 3. I think that's a little bit harsh, to be fair. I think if you were going to side with either Salvador Ziggy or Ontario, couldn't put you off either of those. They both carried quite a bit of weight, especially Salvador Ziggy that day and was staying on at the line. Ontario, I think, quite likes it round Cheltenham as well. But hey, I'm not going to have anything in this just yet, but if I was probably going to either of those 2, or Good Time Johnny, who was 9th back in the champion bumper back in 2020, but 6 of the last 7 Irish winners, qualified from the Leopardstown Handicap qualifier, and he was definitely the eye catcher there. He was 3rd. They then dropped him back to 2 miles in the handicap hurdle, which Gaelic Warrior won. I mean, he jumped horribly, but I think it was just a step back to 2 miles, but he was way out the back of the frame and finished 12th of 17. Don't think that was the worst run at all. He's dropped a pound back to 139 now, so I don't actually think that's the worst. Sorry, I think he's off actually 138 now. So I don't think that's actually the worst bit of form. He is an 8-year-old. 8-year-olds don't have the best record in this, but hey, I think he's more exposed than the rest. But I think Good Time Johnny could go well in a month or so.
Yeah, it's interesting you say about the sort of Pertemps winners, like one that's been put up, I think, up in the ante, and a few other people like it. Walking on Air won the Pertemps qualifier at Exeter, and like I was all in on this horse at the Ballymore last year. I saw it win at Newbury. I saw Nico come off, and he was like, "Yeah, this horse will go up in trip straight away." And I was all over him for this race, for the Ballymore, last year, taken out. Then I was all over him for Aintree, and he pulled up. And then he's quite an interesting horse now. Like he hasn't been assessed yet for Exeter, I want to say. I think he get a few pounds out, maybe 140. You could say Walking on Air would get off, and he would definitely get into the race. I've got the list of the lowest marks for the last couple of years. I think it's 136, 134, 131, 131, 134, 135, 135. So there's sort of your sort of general amount of what you want to get in for the race. He'll definitely get in. So Walking on Air, definitely have to give him a chance. So 12-1 as well. So it's a fair enough price. Harry, the Pertemps, anything that you like in this race?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because Jack's just mentioned one of the horses I am quite keen on here. It is on Ontario for the Jonjo team. Now, I think 25-1 is a really nice price. The first 4 home last year were English trained, and the main principles in the betting are filled with Irish horses. So I think if you're looking at a nice price, and if you're going off the last year's run, I'd probably be looking towards towards the British, and I think Jonjo's got a really nice chance here. Listen, he's raced to a mark of 139 when he was behind Shoot First at Cheltenham, and he was doing his best work towards the later stages. And obviously, as the boys have mentioned, you don't really want to be winning these sorts of races. Listen, Charles Burns could have Shoot First £20 well in and absolutely sluice up and make me look like an absolute tit on here right now. But listen, I think Ontario at 25-1 could be a really nice price. I just think for a horse that was rated 94 and won a handicap hurdle round Market Raisin to then be raised to the mark of 139. That would be one hell of a story. Now, I just think that 25 to 1, I could not touch this horse because I think he is on the improve. Listen, he was 7 lengths behind Maurice Rock at Kempton. We've seen what Maurice Rock has came out and done. She's a multiple Grade 1 winner now, and I think Antaya's got a massive chance. A 7-year-old on the improve. I'm not going to say get stuck in because that is just absolutely ludicrous. But I think at 25 to 1, it's probably, I'll mention it now, it's probably better than nothing at the minute.
You've just done like 2 of the bingo card things there. It's get stuck in, or I'm not going to say get stuck in, and then you've said that each way bet to nothing, Harry. You're just absolutely ruining the comments right now. Absolutely ruining them.
Yeah, well, you've got to keep them entertained, haven't you? You've got to keep the audience entertained because they bring the views in. We love them dearly, and listen, give the viewers what they want. I've not kicked off a fuss this week. I've not gone on a mad roll, so I'll get my bingo cards out. I'll get the phrases in, and that's your lot.
It's about as entertaining as that match bet, wasn't it? It was about as entertaining as that match bet.
I'm still waiting for my confirmation tickets to Goodwood this year.
You are coming. You're joining myself and Jack. Don't worry about that.
Oh,
I'll get you boys
man.
down for the day at Goodwood.
Yeah.
I promised that I'd get you tickets if you won, and you did somehow. You finished and I was pulled up. So yeah,
I can't believe it. It makes me laugh.
It's incredible. I commented underneath just the worst match bet in history, and that was absolutely correct.
I'd say it's the best. It's the best.
Oh, what? Seeing this horse pull up, and then the other horse has finished 5th, 25 lengths behind. No, it's true judges, lads. Well done.
Was that the last finish? Was Snake Roll the last finisher in that race?
Yeah,
was it Lars?
But
Yeah.
This is what it's going. People going on about match bets, saying the first and the second. Listen, my match bet was still going 20 seconds after the first horse had passed the line. And I was trying to figure out where is Jabega here because I don't know whether it's pulled up or he's going to pip State Roll. And when State Roll passed the line in, was it 5th? Yeah. I was going absolutely mental saying, yes, I've won the match bet now. If you're not entertained, I don't know what is. Racing's the best sport in the world. Match bet's the way forward.
I can just imagine, Harry, you weren't on course. So I can imagine if you were on course, the race is finished, and 15 seconds later, you're like, go on, Snake Roll, get him home, get him home.
Keep riding out, keep riding him out, riding him out.
Harry, what price would you make Gavega for the Ballymore? I've got a price. What price would you make him?
On non-heavy ground, in the words of Johnny Deneen, he's a million. He's a million.
No, he's 66 to 1. So on the heavy ground, you give him a chance, yeah?
Yeah, I'd lay you 200. I'd lay you 200 if it's good ground.
Oh, there we go. We'll wait for Cheltenham.
Woody bollocks. Woody bollocks. Lay him 200 to 1. I'd like to see that. Lee, we'll make it happen. We'll come back to the Pertemps. Lee, anything that's sticking out to you that you want to mention?
Yeah, look, I do like this Salvador Ziggy.
Say again.
Salvador Ziggy.
He's picked up his head. He's picked up his head.
Look,
Salvador Ziggy.
I'm a Geordie. I'll get any name wrong, me. Yeah, the Ziggy horse. No, I thought it ran a good race the last day. Behind Shoot First. It's hard to know because then you don't want to stuff your mark, so they haven't come back out, and we haven't seen them run, so it's hard to know where we're at with them. But ran a solid race before the qualifier, a 3-mile race in August, beat Off You Go of Charles Burns. Ronald Pump was 3rd. Duffel Court of Gordon's was a long way back, and Home by the Lee was in that race. He actually ran out, but still would have given him a good race, Ziggy. So I'm going to keep saying Ziggy instead of the first name, Ziggy. But
the Ziggy horse,
Ziggy horse. But no, when it was 4th to Shoot First in the qualifier, you only have to. There's only 4 places to qualify now, not the 6 of previous years. And he was off 12 stone there. Shoot First was 10.7. Obviously, £5 come off Philip Burns, but was only beaten 4 lengths. 12 stone was a big weight to carry, and I thought he ran a solid race to sneak in to get the 4th place there. And I do like Harry's horse. I think it's not bad form, but it's look. Charlie B, he could be doing anything with Shoot First, couldn't he? He's like a submarine. You just don't know when he's gonna fire his shot. So he goes under the radar, and we don't know how much that one's got in hand. But I'm happy to leave at the price. And I thought Salvador Ziggy was overpriced. I think around 12s. I think so. I think that's solid enough bet.
Very, very nice. The only other one I give another shout to, and I'm going to have three, please do sue me. My Immortal, Barry Connell, could be a treble for Barry Connell if this lands and the other two land in the grade ones. Really interesting. Should have probably beat Hewitt back in 2021 at Listowel over hurdles, when about 5 round the bend, was staying on the finish, beating 4 lengths in the end. But I think if he got a nicer route through, which Hewitt did on the inside, could have gone better. As I said, 5 wide, then won at Punchestown the next day. And his latest start, he tried to make pretty much all and was beaten by She Wears It Well in that Pertemps qualifier, was just done on the line. 134 currently. Irish to actually probably get him in there at 138, 139. So I say definitely getting into the race for the mustard man, Barry Connell and Michael O'Sullivan. He'll be stealing £5 off, the very, very good jockey that he is, and brilliant to talk to as well as Michael O'Sullivan. So I think he could be quite smart, my Immortal, and there's the nap there in the treble for the Barry Connell free. I'm surely that's just printing money, really. We'll go on to the final race, the Martin Pipe Handicap Hurdle. I have nothing to show on screen. I have nothing to get wrong for this race. I haven't called it the Martin Pipe Handicap Chase. It's the Martin Pipe Handicap Hurdle. And the markets, as it shows, the final race, Absolute Notions, 8-1. I know the way you're thinking in there at 8s. Langerdan, please, God, can that be the only name drop of Langerdan in this video? Free Card Bragg in there at 8s. Bernard in there at 12s. Cool Survivor 12s. Hacking the Plus 12s. Very interesting, the Martin Pipe, the final race. I'm going to go over to Dawling first, because you messaged me in the week when I gave you the running order, and you said to me, I'm going to try and not mention He Who Shall Not Be Named for Dan Skelton. Are you going to mention him for this race?
You give me no choice. You really give me no choice, do you? Like any races you could pick, and you have to pick the Martin Pipe. Goodness me! Last year that was so much pain. That was so much pain. Seeing Harry, seeing who was on board that day?
Is it Lorcan?
Anyway, the conditional fall just fall off three after that. What was it? The second hurdle, and as well, the commentator didn't pick it up until about 20 seconds after. So I was on all fours. I was on all fours in the stand, and everyone was looking at me like, what on earth just happened to him? And then it came over the tunnel, and I think everyone kind of understood why. But look, he would have to have some kind of revival here, wouldn't he, to be able to do this? I mean, for some reason, I don't really like the excuse of horses being spring horses. But I mean, he did run well in the Boodles, of course, was behind Galopin de Champs. It's just quite obvious why they're going to plan him for it. But would I be backing him 8-1? Absolutely not. He just hasn't really shown anything, I think, this term whatsoever. From his Aintree run first time out, God knows how he went off 3-1 that day. I mean, first time out, I think he should be about 33-1. But anyway, that's enough of talking about Langerdan, because I will go on all day about Langerdan. I think I know the way you're thinking. If they do try and send him here, I mean, I think he's actually just could be way too good for them all. Of course, was 4th in the Lawlers of Naas, and then recorded a really nice final sectional last time out at Navan, when they did not want an absolute chance of him getting anywhere near the winner that day. So, I mean, it was a good final sectional. I mean, it was obviously quicker than Blazing Carl on the day, and it was actually I think it was 2 lengths slower than Hunter's Young, because he started off quite a way back in the field. Stepping up to 2.5 is going to suit completely. And also, there's another one there for John Joe O'Neill, Iroko, who's currently rated 138. And he's currently rated 138. Sorry, easy for me to say, but I was really impressed with him at Wetherby last time out. I'm not too sure if they're going to send him to the Martin Pipe, but the time was really good that day. He's just a relentless galloper, a decent jumper. He was 10 lengths quicker than Hitching Jacking, who's a decent novice for Dan Skelton, who's rated 128. I think Iroko could actually be very good. If they do try and send him to the Martin Pipe, then I'll definitely be looking at him. He's 20-1 at the moment, wouldn't really be getting involved there, but I think he's a classy horse on his day, and hopefully Iroko will be quite good in time.
Thank you very much. And it's off the Langerdan train. It's a miracle for everyone. Fantastic.
But there's still a few more stops to get back on. Don't you worry about
that. I can't lie. When I saw him, when I heard it fell, I did think of you first and foremost. I did say I had a little prayer while the race was going on for you. Sam, the Martin Pipe, a little bit of a minefield at this early stage, but everyone likes to try and find one for the race. Do you like one at this early stage?
Yeah, so whilst that train's gone through and that train stopped and Jack Dawling's got off, I've decided to get on it. Right, and I'll tell you what, right, first things first is that I would love it, I'd absolutely love it if I was to be on this horse, it went and won, and Jack Dawn hasn't tipped it up for the Martin Pie. That's going to be one of those moments with Gaelic Warrior last year where I rub it right in Jack's face if I'm the one that tipped it up. But
how did that go for you?
Yeah, let's not talk about that. I mean, you just said about horses being spring horses. You don't like that being an excuse, but you've literally told me that Hoisting Your wins the Gold Cup.
That's the exception, though, really.
So,
My God.
There's always an exception. There's always one.
As I was saying that, I was actually thinking, I hope you don't talk about Hoisting Your because obviously he is a spring horse, but that's just like a different category. So,
right, fine. But what I want to say about Langdans, we had Dan Skelton on In the Know a couple of weeks back, right? And before the interview, Ross has a little chat with our guests and like goes through what we're going to talk about. And Ross is there, like saying, right, we'll talk about Protector Out, we'll talk about Gallagher, so we'll talk about Grey Dawn. He's listed about 14 horses, and then Dan Skelton's just gone, don't forget to mention Langadan. And he had like this twinkle in his eye, like he's got this horse primed, he's got it ready and wants this to be its big moment. And I genuinely think this horse is going to go close. He's currently £4 higher than he was last year when going off a well-back 7-2 fav for this race, which was absolutely crazy. The Marcus slowly slipped down.
Yeah, it was. Goodness me.
The mark slipped down from what 145 to what 141 now. I just think it's Langadan's time to be winning at Cheltenham. I genuinely do. I can just see it happening. One of the big stories of the festival is he finally gets his Martin Pipe. The other one that I have got in mind though is Mai Tai at 12-1. Who I think is a fair bet for this. His second was really good at the end of January at Cheltenham. He's going into the race for a mark of 145 with Lorcan Mercer on board. He's a proper rider, by the way. I think he's really good. We got to remember this horse was actually quite a quality horse as a novice. He was second in a Mersey at Aintree, and there's some fair form. So he may be one of those spring horses, as Jack calls it. And I just don't like what's not to know about this horse. I think he could be very consistent. We know he performs around this course, and I think 12-1 about him could be quite nice.
I know exactly the Dan Skelton twinkle you're talking about. Whenever the two press days done with him in the last couple of years, there's always been that one. I've just got the quotes up on my screen now of what he said about Langadan. I feel like he's coming back to something towards his best. There's no messing around, but he's showing me something at home. He always runs well in the spring. I think we've just got to accept it is what it is now. He definitely has a chance. That's the quotes about Langadan.
Just quickly, Ash and Sam, is there any danger of you putting up a horse because you haven't heard about it from work?
Here we go.
Get in.
You're right on that one. Harry, Martin Pipe is. Do I hear Langadan again for you?
No, I put one horse. No, it's not Langadan. Like, lads, come on, don't be stupid. Like, seriously, I just couldn't ever trust that horse.
But read the form literally, Harry. Read the form. He ran into Galopin de Champs. Game, set, match. He wins everything. That's what Jack thought last year, anyway.
Fleur was third on that day, and Fleur's rated about 101 now. So,
yeah, right. Well, I'm going away from the British, and I'm putting two horses up, which are quite closely related in terms of form. It's one horse I did put on the nap table. I backed Firm Footings at 25-1 for this race before he won last time out. I think he's a big price. His form is maiden hurdle at Leopardstown when he was third. Listen, there's been winners galore out of that race. Lady Bank was in 8th, beaten nearly 30 lengths. We've seen what that horse came out and did. She dead heated with Princess Zoe at Punchestown the next time out. I mean, the horse that fell in the second, Oh My Lord, that horse went absolutely sluiced in at Navan. I think it was last week, actually. So, and if you just go up the top two, Lot of Joy, Deep Cave. Deep Cave was 4 lengths behind Goodland at the Dublin Racing Festival. And just the second Lot of Joy. Now this is where I'm going here, lads. And you'll be you'll be proud of me for this, because this is quite a good form, lads. Now, a Lot of Joy came out and won his maiden hurdle last time out on the 8th of Feb by 12 lengths, absolutely dotted up. Now, if you go back to his penultimate start before that at Cork, he was a length behind I Know the Way You're Thinking. So if you're going off literal form lines, I think you've got, I know the way you're thinking. If you just, I mean, was it Jack, did you mention this horse the way that it ran last time? It was ridiculous how well this horse stayed on. Like, you're holding on like a train up that hill. It was, I mean, it had its neck strangled the whole way around. And then as soon as the jockey got a little bit tired and let the reins go a little bit, my God, it flew. So I'd be keen for those two. I think a really nice price. Did someone say the forecast in this race? No, I definitely didn't, because that'd be absolute suicide. But I think I know the way.
Is there much more you could say, Harry, that just is absolutely like bonkers? Is there much more you can say?
It's every week, isn't it? I just come out with just some utter tripe and someone nails me for it. But at this point, I've kind of given up caring because I think people have got used to it. So yeah, I know the way you're thinking. and firm footings. I think I'm not sure what the price is. I think firm footings around 16-1. I know the way you're thinking is around 8-1. I think those two are in with two massive shouts.
Thank you very much, Harry. I knew firm footing was going to be one because you put it up as ante-post. Very nice. I think I put up Imagine non-runner money back for both the county and that race, and that's sort of the way I'm going for the Martin Pipe currently. Lee, anything for the Martin Pipe that you're interested by?
Well, I mentioned before, it was actually Dawn Rising that was third in the Bahrain Trophy to Aussie. So I would put up him. I think he stayed on well in the Lowlands of Naas. I think he ended up about third, did he, to Champ Kelly. But I know the way you think was in that race. Didn't get the run of the race. Ended up coming third there again the other day. Like Jack was saying, a Hunt as Yarn. Imagine was second. American Mike was fourth. He stayed on like a train. And look, I think he wasn't missed by the whole of Twitter and everybody. I know the way you're thinking, but he's probably the obvious one for me. Absolute Notions ran good behind Goodland the last day. Cool Survivor. He might go to the Bartlett, but if he does sneak in,
he's got Bartlett written all over.
He has got Bartlett written all over him. I do think he definitely wants that. But look, he ran a good race behind Hidden Valley Lake, and then obviously stayed on behind Goodland the last day. Yeah, he probably is Bartlett type, but if he does go here, I would give him a shout. But I know the way you're thinking. It's an obvious one, but for me, he's the one present.
No, it's very interesting, the Martin Pipe. I'm sure there'll be lots of opinions on this race as my water bottle falls over. The Naps. We're going to go over to Naps, gentlemen. All 28 races are open to you, but please try and find one that one of the guests hasn't already put up. We had 2 darts last week from the 2 guests, in Nick Lightfoot and Anthony Dunkley. I'm going to go to Sam again.
Do you want me to go over the Naps for the guests?
Yes, go on.
Right,
go on.
Okay, just bear with us, gentlemen. We have got, right, so we'll start with Team Twitter, because Team Twitter put some decent horses up. So we've got Halley Boys, Marie's Rock, Sea Dog, Queen's Gamble, Salvador Ziggy. So you can't go Salvador Ziggy for the Pertemps. Fast or Slow for the Plate, Delta Work, Mighty Potter. Now, Johnny Deneen put Fakir Dudaries at 10-1 for the Ryanair. That horse has now got no chance after the weekend, by the way.
Whoa, drops on him from nowhere. Fakir's got no chance.
Oh, don't be stupid.
He'll go to Aintree. Go to Aintree now.
Yeah, he's got to go to Aintree. James Stevens from the Racing Post, Hermes Allen, whose form just keeps getting franked every week, doesn't it? It's ridiculous. Dave Cross put Love Envoy up at 9-2. That's pretty obvious. Johnny Ward put Lossy Mouth up at 11-8. Dermot Nolan put up Absolute Notions for the Martin Pipe. Nick Lightfoot and Anthony
Dunkley.
Anthony Dunkley, there we go. My mind escaped me. So Banbridge and Marie's Rock for the Turners and Mares. So gentlemen, you've got about take your pick from the
2 races. We're going to go about 2 races. No. Have what you like. We'll go Sam first. What will be your Cheltenham Festival nap currently?
Okay, I'll go for one in a handicap. I will, and it'll be in the Grand Annual. And I'm going to put up a horse who is trained by an absolute hero, and it's Gary Moore, and it'll be Haddix de Zobo for me in the Grand Annual. I think this horse has, since the turn of Christmas, look you, Jack's head in hands already. That's just what happens every time.
It's just
you were
like,
odds on. You were odds on to put up a Gary Moore horse.
Yeah.
But then there's head. To be fair, I actually can't say anything. But there's head over Hart, and then Hart just kind of rules every time, doesn't it?
No. I think Haddix is over. I mean, this horse was intended to run in that race with Jonbon initially. Jude's ground got pulled out. I genuinely think the way that race was run, I genuinely think that Haddix de Zobo would have been, it wouldn't have beaten Jonbon, I'm not saying that, but I think would have made a right race of it from the front against Jonbon in that race. I think this is a top quality horse. Since the turn of Christmas, this horse has put in 2 really strong runs. I'm assuming this is probably going to be the plan with this horse. Could be very well handicapped. Currently 12-1. I think this horse is, I'm going to give him a chance in the Grand Annual. I know Orcan Risk is the favourite here, could switch back to fences and again be well handicapped, but Haddix de Zobo for me in the Grand Annual. I stayed away from the Gold Cup. I thought Protectorate had a bit of a chance in that to bounce back. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Grand Annual of Haddix de Zobo.
They gave him a really, really nice shout out, did Skelton, about Protectorate. Like he was like, there's the twinkle about it. He was quite like happy about how this horse is prepared for the race. How he what was he saying? He said that if he told everyone that it was a prep race before the Cotswold Chase, people would have been happy with his run. But because he didn't, people were a bit unsure about his run. They say he's a bigger, better, stronger horse than last year. So yeah, Pertemps they gave a massive shout to.
That's bang out of order. I'm sorry, that is just bang out of order. That is bang out of order for a trainer to come out and say, I can't say it's a prep run, but it is a prep run. The horse goes off 11 to 8 and he gets absolutely tonked. Do you know that is infuriating, because if you've done your absolute conkers and he's the best horse in the race and basically he's half fit, how the hell is that fair? Now, Dan Scanlon, I think.
Hang on, Harry, hang on. There's something in pocket. There's pocket talk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pocket talk.
Does this kid ever stop moaning? Does this kid ever stop moaning?
No, I'm looking after the average punter here now.
Exactly. Go on, Harry.
Do you know what? He's banged out of order. He's banged out of order.
Right.
And that's Harry Skelton. That's the Skelton Harry Beard relationship in tatters, as are all of the other relationships.
But it is, because it's like, from what Protectorate did in the Betfair Chase to what the horse did at Cheltenham, you can't write that. Now, I love Dan Skelton to bits. If I've got to hook money on a horse, I'd probably want Harry Skelton riding it. But for him to come out and say that, I thought was personally wrong. But that is my rant over. There's me one for the week.
No, yeah, one for the one. Is it? Are you sure it's one or about five? No. In fairness, you are correct to an extent there. But in fairness, they said that it was more of a afterwards thought. They just they went, oh yeah, we didn't actually they didn't realize they didn't have him right for the race. Like, they always knew it was going to be a prep, but they didn't realize they had him fully fit for the race. They said he was sort of 80% once they sort of ran the race. In fairness, but I see where you're coming from on that one. It's not fair on the punters on that one. Dawling, over to you for the nap.
Okay, I was umming and ahhing over this for ages, because I kind of just wanted to look for a bit of value. I quite like Mile of Mission for the National Hunt Chase. And after just slating Sam about head over heart, I really can't get away from the fact Nube Negra is 33-1 for the Champion Chase.
Now that I can back up. I can back up. That is a great shout, by the way.
I know a lot of people can't take. I know a lot of people don't like this shout whatsoever, but I just can't get over that Desert Orchid run on soft ground. Harry sent him about 10 wide. He gave Editor de Jeep 1.4 seconds by the first fence, so he was actually only beaten about 6 or 7 lengths. Enegamine was 6 or 7 lengths behind him last time out as well. He doesn't like Kempton. I know he won the Desert Orchid, but I think he just loves going left-handed. He loves Cheltenham. They've already started watering for the festival, I've heard this evening, so that it's going to be, hopefully, he's going to get his ground. And at 33-1, obviously, it would be ground dependent. But I mean, at for that third place, if Edwardstone and Enegamine are ahead of everything, you're getting a 3-1 shot. You're getting 6-1 the place part. You're getting a 3-1 winner if he finishes third instead of the 7-4, 15-8 about Enegamine and Nube Negra, Enegamine and Edwardstone. And I just think at a price, you could be paying for that third place, but I really wouldn't be surprised to see him turn that form of Editor de Jeep. And if it means I'm getting a 5-2, 11-4 winner about Nube Negra finishing third, then so be it.
Fair enough. Big price. And again, Dan Skelton liked the chance of him. And he said that in a good ground Champion Chase, it will go really, really well. Even if it turns up good to soft, he said his claims are obvious. So Nube Negra, nice old price. We'll go over to us lot then. Harry, we'll go over to you first. What do you like as your nap on week 7?
I'll tell you what, this is going to cause a bit of controversy, I shall tell you.
Gavega in the Ballymore. It's going to be Gavega in
the Ballymore. No, but listen, Ash, you put up a double last week, so I'm going to put up a double this week.
As long as it's non-runner money back, we can allow it.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it's non-runner money back, because this horse has got a fair few uncertainties about where he goes. It's a 5.5-1 double at the minute, and it's Jonbon for the Argyle. It's a Nicky Henderson double, and now, yes, the recent comments regarding a certain horse that I did not fancy one bit, but now he's proven himself. I'm going for Shishkin for the Ryanair. I think he's pretty from the rest. I think he's a good thing.
Are you joking?
I can seriously respect that in a man, though. I can seriously respect that in a man.
You know, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Now I am willing to put my recent thoughts aside and look at what I've actually saw. What he did on Saturday was absolutely superb. The way he jumped, the way he quickened, he could get a Gold Cup trip on his head. But why? I think if you go to the Ryanair, you've got the biggest chance of winning. I think if you look at that division right now, you've got Blue Lord, who was tonked the other week in the DRF. No, there's no such thing as his caliber in that race. So I'm going to put a 5.5-1 double with Jonbon for the Argyle and Shishkin for the Ryanair.
Wow.
Ash,
wow, that's all I have to say, Harry. Wow.
This
I'm
means,
speechless.
Harry's going to have Blue Lord for the Ryanair, Shishkin for the Ryanair, and Blue Lord for the Champion Chase. So you've took three there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's got
For
Blue
one
Lord
bet.
already.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
I can't
bear in
believe
mind,
this.
bear in mind, I put Blue Lord up for the Champion Chase. That wasn't non-run money back, so I've probably lost on that one. Blue Lord non-run money back for the Ryanair Chase. So effectively, I've got 2 good darts at the Ryanair. So
Do you think 11? Do you think 11 to 10 is actually a good price? Just say that.
It's around. I think he's 11 to 8 now. There's not much difference, but from what you can see,
have the extra 0.2 of a point. There it is. There it is.
Yeah. Is it a good price, Harry? You genuinely think that's a cracking price?
So what beats him? If he turns up on his A game, what beats him?
There
you go. Silence! Silence, everybody! Silence!
Yeah, but he could turn up on his A game, but that is a big question. I mean, the old bounce factor and all that. I mean, 11 to 8, it's just not a price, though, is it? I mean, you look at him and Jonbon, they're both so short. Short.
Jack, should we take him down with Hitman? We'll take him down with Hitman.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, but again, I get a lot of stick
take him down.
that one. But there
we go.
Well, there you go. Well, listen, when someone's cheering on a 5.5 to 1 double, and you boys are cheering on for second place by Shishkin, who's going to be like
the first leg gets beaten anyway.
Pair of you.
First leg gets beaten.
You see Jonbon? Oh my god!
He gets beat. He'll get beat. He'll get beat. He'll get beat.
John, listen, Aidan Coleman will be having his champagne before Fabiola even crosses the line, so I won't even bother about that. So Jonbon.
Why start Dynamo still being overlooked as well?
Oh well, I backed him at 12 to 1, so I don't really care. So he can fill the places for.
Hang on, how many have you got in these races?
Wait,
do you have all of them?
What haven't you backed? Is your name Charlie Sharp? Is your name Charlie Sharp? You backed everything in a race.
No, did I not say Dance Not Dynamo at 12 to 1 is a big price? So listen, you've got me riled up now, and I didn't want to be riled up on this Sunday evening. Because
you've done it to yourself, though. You've got about 9 darts for the championship races. I can't believe it.
Well, listen.
He'll still be booming them all as well on his Twitter.
Too right. You know what? There's 2. I'm not even going to say it because you've riled me right up now. All of you. All 4 of you. Do you know what? Jack's actually been sound to me here. Jack's the one that's actually been all right to me. And
he just said you're going to boom them. He just said you're going to boom them.
That's the money point. Why would I not boom those horses? Why would I not boom them? Listen, Fast Vega wins the Supreme. Jonbon wins the Arkle. Constitution Hill wins.
Boom! 11 to 10 winner, but the other 7 have lost.
11 to 8. Well, all you were 11 to 10. I got 11 to 8. Boom!
Okay,
all right. God.
Go to bed, Harry. Go to bed.
If I have enough time to edit this, I'm going to edit in Harry talking about Blue Lord for the Ryanair. I'm going to get about Shishkin as well. I'm going to edit in here and great. If I do it, I'm going to do it right. Lee, let's go back to normality. You're the calm head here. What do you like? Week 7.
I'm not normally the calm one, so I'm glad I am this week. Just you know what? Just a quick shout. So that Tingle Creek form, Fun and Ball Savola was come out and won there the other day. Shishkin, Gentleman to me, it's working out quite well to be fair. But I was torn between 2. I was going to put I Know the Way You're Thinking, but you know what? I'm going to go against Harry. Dysart Dynamo for the Arkle.
Oh,
yeah. You know what? That drop.
You just want to wind me up all every single day.
You can't go against Harry. He's backed everything in the race anyway.
He's backed it anyway. But I think dropping back down to 1.5 furlongs from the last day, and I think the track will suit better just to bounce out in front. Catch me if you can. I'm going to take Dysart to beat the 2 at the top.
You know he's going to be travelling down that hill an absolute dream as well, isn't he?
I just think
he's trying to fill him up, and that's it.
He's a lot more settled this year than the last season. People are saying about the Supreme. He's a lot more settled animal. He jumped great the last twice there, and I think, like I say, dropping down to I think it's 1 mile 7.5 or something. It said. So I think that'll suit much better, and I think he'll be away and gone. So, sod Harry. Let's go.
And you can say that to his face because he's limped back in. He's limped back in.
Back in. Died at the worst possible time to absolutely nail all of you. And now look, I'm on my iPad now, so I'm literally looking.
I think he's changed.
Yeah. Yeah, the unprofessionality to not charge your phone, Harry. I for one have never done that in my life on these videos, so that's really poor from you. That's a joke I do all the time. I'm going to go for probably my shortest price one of the ante-post series. I think I had trouble. I think I said this. I think that's on the bingo card as well. I had trouble this week trying to find one, but I found one at the 90th minute. I found one. I tried to find a bit of value in there. Tried to get a big price. I was tempted by Roy Marge for the cross country chase, and I might do it another day. But I'll get that little mention there. But I'm going to go to the Brown Advisory. I tried to sort of pinpoint National Hunt Chase and Brown Advisory, two very open races in my book. What do I like the most? Tried to find the biggest price one. Couldn't find anything that I really liked, so I went to the Brown Advisory and I went the real whacker
Oh
for the Brown Advisory. The real whacker.
People aren't going to tune back into this, like
the real whacker for the Brown Advisory. And do you know what? If someone showed me this video about a week ago about this horse, maybe 2 weeks ago, I probably would have been laughing as well. But I've had a bit of time. I actually saw a video of a preview evening that the Shark did with a few people off Twitter and stuff, and I can't remember the guy that was on there. He was talking about the real whacker. Now, obviously, he'd had a couple of drinks, so it's a bit like Harry on any night that he doesn't Only Fools Love Horses video. He was off. He was absolutely going for it, but he was quite sort of like, I think he rides this horse out or has ridden this horse out. He was really sweet on this horse, like really sweet on this horse. And then I went and looked back. I actually went and looked back at his races. He's won twice at Cheltenham this season. He absolutely bolted up in the Dipper. Like absolutely bolted up. It was 3 lengths, but he's jumped like beautifully. Beat Montmoral, beat Thunder Rock. Thunder Rock has gone and franked the form to an extent by running behind Jerry Colomb again. Thunder Rock ran a brilliant race that day. Was staying on. Probably wasn't put in the race early enough from Shishkin there. So I think if he'd gone a bit closer, he would have had a bit of a more challenge to the real whacker. But I think the real whacker's a nice horse here. 5-1 about him. It's not as big as I maybe wanted, but look, I'm happy to take that. I've gone for a fair few big prices on these ante-post videos. I wanted to get one in there is sort of like going to be up there as like a proper fancy one. I missed the boat on Mighty Potter, getting him in the ante-post videos, or I've mentioned him for like the Gold Cup next year. That's how much I like Mighty Potter. But I'm going to be taking the real whacker for the Brown Advisory. Hopefully can get the job done at 5-1. And that's all we've got time for.
Can I ask you a question regarding the real whacker? Right. So if you go off his actual form, I mean, he's beat Montmoral and Thunder Rock. Beauport was 17 lengths. I mean, Beauport wouldn't win him on a Brown Advisory if he started now. No offense to that horse. But Thunder Rock and Montmoral. Thunder Rock was third. Was Thunder Rock fourth behind Jerry Colomb?
Third.
And Thunder Rock was...
Montmoral was well cooked at Sandown. Yeah, behind him. The real whacker is a solid jumper, but he's not the class of a Jerry Colomb.
Yeah, but then like if you go to his novice chase, his first one at Cheltenham, he beat Indigo Breeze, who then got tonked in a handicap at Leopardstown behind the Goffer. Like
Bardenstown lad was tailed off in the race.
Yeah, well, fair. Do you not think 5-1's a little bit short?
If he's trained by Willie Mullins, he is a point shorter though. He is.
Yeah.
I mean that is the age-old stereotype of it if he was trained by someone else. But I do think that I just think it's really open. Like if you actually go through the field, Sir Gerhard's in there. Like, will they go to this race? The only reason why 6-1 is because Willie Mullins dropped it in his post-race interview. The Brown Advisory looks like
he mentioned 4 races for Sir Gerhard.
Yeah, exactly. He even mentioned the National Hunt Chase that it's not even entered for. Time Hill is a solid horse. Like he is a solid horse, and he runs solid around Cheltenham. But 6-1 again wouldn't be sure for me. Guy de Maynil is 10s. Now I can actually see this horse going to the race, but do I think he's that level? Possibly not. Ramilli's National Hunt Chase all over. The Devil's Coachman I was interested by after his subsequent win with Ramilli's when he was second, 14-1. I just like to sort of like sit on him a little bit longer and see what's going on. Mighty Potter want to go to the race. Stage Tar won a handicap coming into the race. Is he that top level? No. And then James de Burley is one that I put up right at the start. He's been absolutely battered by Mighty Potter, and hopefully they decide to go this way for the race. But again, comments are saying that he's going to the Turners. So like, I just think it's a lot more open than people think. Gallia de la Toe was Skelton's like nap for the festival if they get soft ground. But the way it's going, you might not be getting soft ground with him. I just thought the real whack is a nice one. Go on.
Just quickly, what do you think? You think Guy de Maynil will go to the Brown Advisory?
I personally think he does. And I know that sort of like, I know that kind of like I guess goes against me there in the fact that I like Mighty Potter so much, and this horse finished 3 lengths behind it. So like I say, he's probably one of the strongest contenders, but it's a case of if he turns up to the race, like because he's so short for the National Hunt Chase, I wouldn't be prepared to put him up ante-post, because even though I think he'll go to the Brad Advisory, I wouldn't be hanging my hat on it. And then just looking through the rest, I think it's fairly open. So I think the real whacker. I just can't get on the Joker on boat for some reason, Lee. I know you're not going to like it, but I think the real whacker, and I think he jumps so well. He's got coursed form. He battled really hard. I know he only beat Indigo Breeze, but he battled really hard, I thought, the first day, and then he's absolutely bolted up in the dipper. So we'll see. We'll see by the time comes, Harry. But as long as you have the winner in some of the races from your 92 darts, that's the main thing. That's what we're all hoping for, isn't it, Harry? Eh? We actually make profit if some of these horses win.
I'm not even gonna. I'm not even gonna rise to it.
The P&L
2 seconds. Hi, is that better 365? Yeah, can I back everything in the champion hurdle, please? Yeah, including Constitution Hill. Yeah, put some money on that as well. Yeah, cheers.
And what about Shishkin? What's my name? Harry Beard. Oh, you're happy to take my bet? Oh, that's weird.
Right, okay, what have I done wrong there? I put Blue Lord up for the Ryanair and then put Shishkin up for the Ryanair.
Riled, absolutely riled.
Riled. Blue Lord for the champion. Cheers.
Okay, so I've got Blue Lord wrong. My bad. I've got Blue Lord wrong. If Shishkin wins and Jonbon wins, there's a 5.5 to 1 winner for you.
And you break even. Well done. Oh, fantastic.
I was gonna say drop the bomb then, but I'm not, because I'm gonna keep it PG for myself.
It's been a pleasure actually, this, Harry. To be fair,
it's been really good.
Honestly, do you know what?
Get them back.
I take the piss, but about 3 of my horses in the ante-post series aren't even going to go to the races that I've put them up for. So I think that's perfect. I think that's a perfect time to end. Thank you very much. I must say, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Jack, for coming on. I hope you both enjoyed.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, lads. No, I appreciate it.
No, thank you very much for coming on. And I must say, thank you very much for coming on. And the fact that Harry is there smirking away after his phone's died. He's back Shishkin after the comments he said. Harry, this has been a turning point in your life, really, this video.
It's been one hell of a night, hasn't it, really? I can't wait to go home and just get to bed. I'm fed up.
You're not already home? You're not home?
No, I'm...
Multiple bets, multiple homes. He's got everything.
He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know where he is anymore.
Honestly, right, piss off the lot of you. In all honesty, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. If guests like you come on every single week, and they have done, we have the crack that we have, it makes for brilliant viewing, and I might get the piss taken out of me every single week, but I absolutely love it. And I love having the crack with other people and talking racing. So, gents, from me and from Ash and Lee as well, we thank you for coming on massively. So, big thanks.
Thank you very much. Lee, competition we're going to have next week, correct?
Yeah, from Racing Tees at Racing Tees 1 on Twitter. Follow them. You can wear their colours, any colours of racing. So maybe Sam might want a few Goshen t-shirts from them or something like that. But look, we're going to have competition next week, and we've got a big bundle as well to give away on our Cheltenham preview night, which is going to be announced at the end of next week. So at Racing Tees, thanks for giving all the prizes away, and I'll get that up at the weekend.
No, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers before Cheltenham. If you can do that, that'd be simply incredible. So fingers crossed we can get there. Please like the video.
You don't yourself.
Please like the video as well. 100 likes. That's all we ask for. 100 likes would be fantastic. Comment any selections you have down below. Nail Harry in the comments. Why not? We've all done it. Why not get involved as well? No, if you did enjoy, please do like, subscribe, follow us all on Twitter. Make sure to follow the Only Fools Love Horses account on Twitter. If you're having a bet, please do gamble responsibly and enjoy the rest of the week. We'll be back on Wednesday for our video. Thank you very much.